Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Anniversaire de Historique for Race 5 from the Yamagiwa circuit at the Kyoto Driving Park. Let's take a look at the current championship standings after 4 races. We've got Mitch leading the way on 70 points and he's 2 ahead of SGP. We've then got a 15-point gap to Demon R in 3rd place, and then 2 behind him is Steve F1. Conrad follows closely, 1 point behind in 5th place, while Twilight and Fluffy are joint 6th on 30 points. Dave the Harp sits in 8th place on 22 points, but is joined there by Rich Blues on the same amount of points. 10th place sees Bunsell sit there on 18 points, while in 11th place we've got Jason on 15. In 12th is Formula Gary. He's 4 points ahead of SRI, who's in 13th place on 10 points, and he's 1 ahead of Jimmy, who's in 14th, and then Hay, who's 15th, and Tyler 16th, although it says 14, 14, 14. Someone needs sacking for that. Oh, hang on, wait, that's me. Look at the qualifying result. On the front row is Mitch, pole position once again. Let's see how close the lap times are this time around. 1:23.723 for Mitch, and only a 10th behind him is Steve F1 joining him on the front row. On row 2 is Demon R and SGP, and it's only 2 tenths back to Demon R with SGP just into the low 124s. On row 3 we've got Conrad lining up against Tyler. Let's see, 4 tenths of a second between those two. Tyler having not got a lot of practice in yet in these cars. On row 4 we've got Jason in P7, SRI in P8, both into the 25s, with SRI on a .520. Dave the Harp starts in 9th place on a 125.526, so ever so close to SRI, and having said that, Formula Gary's right there as well, less than a 10th between the 3 of them. On row 6 it's Twilight in 11th place on a 125.8, and he is 7 tenths of a second ahead of Jimmy, who starts 12th. On row 7 will be Hay, starting in P13 alongside Bunsell in P14. Row 8 to the last row on the track or on the grid is Rich Blues in P15 and Fluffy Planet in P16. Right, Yamagiwa, what have you got for us? Let's find out with our commentary team. And joining me on commentary here at Yamagiwa, it's a stranger to the commentary box, or is it? It's Connor.
Yeah, definitely not, Dave. I'm looking forward to seeing another good race.
I'm looking forward to a good one as well, as we've got Mitch sitting on pole position, although he's not going to be sitting stationary for very long as the cars are about to get underway. Yamagiwa is a very fast circuit, Connor, a bit like Suzuka, as Mitch is about to get us underway.
Yeah, we've got different tyres this week. We've got the racing hard, so see how they perform around this challenging track.
Aye, that we will, and we wait for the lights to go out, and away they go. That is now Mitch heading off towards turn 1 with everybody behind him wanting to beat him. Steve F1 is very close behind him. The slipstream could be very effective today, as Gary's having a look at the inside of Dave the Harp into turn 1.
Yeah, Gary's already making a move actually. He's got Twilight looking down the inside of Dave the Harp as well.
As Mitch has managed to hold on to the lead for the moment. He needs, if he can, to try and open up a little bit of a gap. I think he needs to be within about 7 tenths of a second to really benefit from the slipstream around this track up at the front. A little bit further back you'll get a bit more slipstream with a boost. Oh, Connor's having a little dipping of the wheel on the grass there. Tyler in the background as well, managing to stick onto his tail at the moment. A little bit of a gap opening up already behind Tyler.
Yeah, the top 6 seem to have had a good start and pulled away from Jason, who's at the front of the secondary pack, and yeah, it looks like they've got a good gap between them now.
Steve F1's coming under pressure from Demon R, is in the background. David Harp is attacking Twilight, I think it is. Yes, it is. Demon R wasn't able to get past Steve F1, and that's allowed SGP to close the gap in, and Conrad closes in as well. Tricky little chicane they're going through here, though. Very easy to run wide, and if you do run wide, it's very easy to end up facing the wrong direction. He's in the background. Bunsell is in the barrier.
Yeah, Conrad just gives SGP a little tap there and actually goes past.
That is bit of a cheeky overtake, that one maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know if he'll let him through or if he's going to accept that. But we've got a gaggle of cars behind here all fighting over this 8th place.
Now we have Jason's got a little bit of a gap. We've got SRI and David Harp side by side. You can go side by side around majority of this circuit, although up through these fast S's it's not easy to do, because if you're side by side you're going to have to lift off a bit, and to be honest it's absolutely flat out up there if you are not side by side. So yeah, Gary now got an opportunity to pass Dave. Oh, as Fluffy gets a little bit of a nudge there from Jimmy by the looks of it.
Yeah, definitely side by side, but I don't know about 3-4 abreast. Yeah, because you're back on board with Conrad, who's actually having a look at Demon R now.
I'd rather have 4 abreast than 3.
I don't know about that.
Well, 4 could equate to 2 ladies. 3, that something's gone wrong.
Yeah, more to play with.
Okay, Steve F1 is pulling away from Demon R, who's got Conrad right behind him now. So Demon R coming under pressure through the tricky chicane. We really need to give that chicane a name at some point, because it will catch people out through the whole
First person who spins will name it after them.
If it's Rich Blues, then it'll be the second corner he's got named after him. Okay.
That's Rich Kane.
Yeah. Okay, so interestingly, you know what? Mitch has opened up a gap up at the front on Steve F1, so that's going to be a little bit interesting. Steve F1 does not want to be left behind by Mitch. Oh, as Conrad runs wide on the exit of turn 1, very easy to do that as well. And they're now side by side with SGP. Is SGP going to be able to make the move? I don't think he is, but that's just freed up Demon R to run away a little bit.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Conrad actually managed to keep the position there as he turns in and finds SJP on the inside.
Like that he does, yeah. Conrad's had to get out of that one, and SGP's got through, but he's going to have a look now into it's the first of the 2 chicanes really. This one, it's not the most difficult of chicanes. However, if you do enter it too fast, you'll very easily find yourself heading towards the barriers. But Conrad was not able to attack SGP. He may have a go into the hairpin though. Yes, he does, up the inside, has a look. SGP spots him, goes for the switchback and executes the switchback nicely, but Conrad is going to fight it on the outside.
Yeah, he's going to have the inside line for this next corner. He should keep the position as he does.
Just have to hope he hasn't got in there too quick, and he hasn't. That's also given Tyler an opportunity now to close in on the back of SGP. Jason, interestingly, has pulled away a bit from the pack. So yeah, there is Jason. He's slowly closing in on Tyler as Fluffy and Gary go side by side.
I think this is the reason why he's pulled away.
Quite possibly, yeah. 2 by 2 by 2 by 1. Oh yeah, I mean two abreast, as we said. Yeah, that's not bad. You don't really want to be making it many more than that as
that's
SRI.
5 or 6 there.
Yeah,
that's good driving.
Oh no! What was it? Nobody's
too soon.
Yeah. I think Jimmy may have backed out of that one as well. I don't think it was Jimmy that hit SRI there, but yeah, there's a bit of contact. SRI ended up off. Tyler making the move on SGP. All brave around the outside on the marbles.
Yeah, he's got it done. That's a good move. Just going, actually, when you were talking about the chicane as we go down the hill now, I think it's a lot difficult when you come from the reverse layout. When they do the reverse layout on this track, it becomes a different sequence of corners then.
Yeah, definitely. SGP's got to run on Tyler on the exit of the chicane up towards the hairpin, and yeah, should have that move done, but Tyler's not going to give it up easy. You're absolutely right. I mean, we have raced around the opposite direction a few times, and yeah, that chicane, because you're going downhill around a corner, and that's your braking zone. It's so easy to spin.
Is that out. The most recent one was maybe in the Golf? Was it the Super Sport?
I think it might have been, yeah. It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough race to watch that.
I wonder why. But yeah, no, it is. I mean, to be fair, I don't think we'd actually driven the circuit in this configuration before that, and since then, this circuit in this direction has been favoured more often than not. As formerly Gary having a look up the inside of Hay, but Hay having none of it. Oh, it's coming Rich Blues though.
Yeah, it's nice to see here battling it out. We had a difficult race last week and ended up 2 laps down, I think. So it's nice to see him battling inside the top 10.
I mean, it was an interesting one. He's a little bit too close to Rich Blues there. It was Hay giving a little bit of a nudge as Rich gets a little nudge from behind now from Gary. Oh, Gary's going wide into the barrier. Rich misses the barrier, but Gary's absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, he's actually ended up on the other side of the track there, and he hasn't actually got going again, as you see whoever's in last place going past him now.
You know, it looked like Twilight was having a cheeky look at passing. Rich Blues backed out of it. I don't know if there was contact, but it ended up with Rich going across the grass and then into a spin. It was unfortunate for Rich, but it wasn't the chicane that I said we need a name for. So it's not going to be Tricky Dicky Dawn yet anyway. It may be it's a fluffy wall. Ooh, Hay and SRI very close there.
Yeah, all of them just battling it out for this position, and he actually has a look down the inside.
That was risky on the curb.
That was more
there.
than a look.
I mean, interestingly as well, you mentioned about we're going 3-4 wide again. Hay last week, yeah, he decided to sort of basically get out of the way of the leaders and sat in the pits for a lap, I think it was, just to stay out of everybody's way. I mean, there's nothing in the rules about that. Whether it's something that the admins may talk about, because it's one of those. It's an interesting situation. I think the admins would want drivers to drive at all times, but at the same time can understand somebody wanting to get out of the way of the leaders. But I suppose you have to ask the question, are you better off doing what Rich Blues did a few races ago or last season, where he had I think it was Steve F1 and Demon R behind him at Laguna Seca, and Rich decided, you know what, I'm unsafe in this situation, or is Hay making a move, and he retired from the race. I can understand that one. I think in many ways, big crash, big crash.
He tried to catch it, and Fluffy tried to go on the inside and get past him, and he just managed to put him off.
I wasn't really watching at that point, to be honest. I was too busy talking. I just saw the aftermath. So I mean, see, it's perhaps one that's up for discussion. I mean, should a driver retire? If they feel that they want to be out of the way, should they retire?
Yeah, but I think if a driver stays in the pits and comes out, the amount of boost that they get from being a lap down won't really help them either, because they'll have to catch up and then they'll have to back off again. Yeah. So it'll probably be one for the admins to look at, but we'll see SRI maybe the first one to pit.
He is the first to pit.
Get rid of them hards and go on to a new set of hards. We'll see what happens when he comes out the pits.
Isn't that a very early pit stop though?
Well, I'd have thought that there'd be quite a few. We spoke last week about you won't really see a gain on new tyres around this track. You're probably best off doing a one stop, but maybe just taking a gamble and using the boost to get up back onto these guys before they have a chance to pit, and then performing the undercut. But that means he's going to have another pit stop to do later on. So I mean, we'll see where it ends up.
Tactical pit stops are a part of it. I mean, for someone like SRI as well, who I know, Twilight getting touchy, who hasn't had a lot of practice, maybe he's just feeling, you know what, I just want to get away from the pack for a bit, get settled into the track, and keep out of trouble perhaps. Or as Twilight gives, who's that ahead of him, Jimmy a bit of a nudge there, and now Bunsell is going to attempt to make the move on Twilight, is he? Can't get it done though before the chicane. Bunsell! The Bunsell bend, is it? No, it's not.
No, it's not. Could have been a Jimmy bend, but he managed to kick it straight.
That he did. So SRI's pitted, and he's not too far behind. He's going to be on fresher tyres. So if you're in the pack or at the back of the pack, I can understand people doing a few additional stops. I think up at the front, I think we're going to be seeing one stops, maybe two stops if somebody wants to look at trying to do something a little bit different. David Hart, though, ahead of Twilight now, who's got Bunsell behind him. And I've got to admit, if there's one thing that I've been hearing a lot about this championship is the sound of these cars. Everybody's absolutely loving it.
Yeah, obviously you can't really tell when we're doing commentary, but they are the sort of cars that if you go on board, it will deafen you. But yeah, a lot of the drivers have preferred the sound of these cars more than they actually enjoy driving them, which is a lot of people actually prefer these cars.
Definitely. I think there was some fear as well as well. I'm looking at Demon R. It's not that far away from Steve F1, so we do have a bit of a battle going on for second place as Mitch has opened up a nice healthy gap. However, I say a nice healthy gap, it's not a gap that's big enough for him to pit and come back out into the lead. So any mistake from Mitch and Steve F1's on him. I mean, this is kind of the situation where, and something to bear in mind, folks, is look at the lap times when we're looking at these guys. This is pressure on the stopwatch.
Yeah, definitely. he's got to be careful as well, because obviously we've seen the guys that behind him as well. They're not too far away, even behind Damon Art. He's still got Conrad, SGP, and I think Tyler's dropped off a bit. So if he wants to get a comfortable gap where he's confident pitting and coming back out, then he needs to get maybe a bit of a shift on, or just try and keep his lap times consistent and hope these guys start fighting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the guys we've had a look at there, they're all lapping sort of consistently in the 24s. Tyler's times have dropped 25s, 24s, but Tyler's not had any practice as far as I know, similar to Jason. I would mention as well that day before race day was Demonar's 40th birthday, so I think a few of the drivers would be wishing that we'd be driving a quieter car in this race today, but not to be, as Twilight and Bunsell go side by side, and Bunsell making a nice move there.
Yeah, that was a good move there. Just going back to Demonar actually has OAP on the back of his car. a subtle livery change, but one that a few people noticed. Yeah,
a factual livery change.
Yeah, it's just a warning.
Yeah, eyesight's gone a bit, and so's the hearing. What?
Yeah,
Twilight!
We still haven't got a name for that corner yet, as the guy survived another lap.
You watch the whole race, no one will end up spinning it there now. Oh, Jimmy making a nice move.
Guarantee that someone will end up off there. It's a very tricky corner, especially when the tyres go off as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an interesting one. We mentioned about the other chicane in the opposite direction, downhill, round a corner. Well, that chicane in this direction is very similar. It's just not as fast, but it is very deceptive. You can take a bit off.
You can judge your braking a bit more, can't you? Because it's just a straight braking zone.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That was tight through there.
Ooh, and I think, who was that? Formerly Gary slipping through as well. Yeah, you can kind of brake before you get to the right-hander and go round the right-hander, and then you can be quick through the left. If you don't brake soon enough, you end up going too fast through the right-hander. But it's a fantastic set of corner. I absolutely love it, to be fair.
You see it now.
Yeah, as they made their way through the first of the chicanes. Bunsell's all over it's Jimmy all over the back, and Dave the Harp as they make their way towards the hairpin. So is Jimmy going to go up the inside? No, Dave the Harp covers it off. That's interesting, because Jimmy may be able to get a bit of a switch back now, and he's trying, but Bunsell's in the barrier, but Dave the Harp's got the wider line and the better traction. Now he's got the inside line, covers Jimmy off, but if they come in too fast, they're going out too fast. But if they come in at the right speed, they can get round the corner quite nicely, as SRI seems to be flashing a bit of Morse code there. What's that? I'll get my assistant on what Morse code is flashing with his headlights.
I just wanted to actually point out Bunsell before he went off. That chicane we were talking about, he got the perfect line through it, and he actually overtook Twilight coming out of the exit, and that's the sort of line you want to take. A couple of wheels on each curb, just dragging the front end in. Yeah, he got a good run coming out.
Oh, Gary just got a little bit on the curb there. Yeah, I mean, there's some curbs that you can use to your benefit that will help you around the corner, and then there's others that really don't on the curb. They've just gone past there. If you hit the leading edge of the curb with your tyre, it can bounce the front end of the car. Paul, Jimmy and David are going side by side. Jimmy's gone wide though, has to back out of it. That's going to give Gary the opportunity. And now Jimmy's running wider. Oh, can he survive?
I think that was a little nudge there.
Yeah,
I think it was a little nudge from Gary there, just in his front right corner.
And SRI just sitting back there as well, watching all this, kicking off. David Hart's got a decent run. Jimmy a little too aggressive over the curbs there maybe, but trying to make the move on Twilight. This could get a little bit interesting up into the hairpin on this occasion, as we have a quick look at Mitch. I'm just wondering if he's going to be heading into the pits with 15 minutes in. No, he's not. Okay, so it looks like Mitch is going to try and keep going. Steve F1 and Demon R, I mean, they kind of keep him with him just. Is that someone into the pits?
That was SGP.
So SGP, well, maybe he's got a bit of a headache and wants some smoother tyres to reduce any vibrations in the cockpit, or maybe he realised he's got a gap to come out ahead of Tyler, so not lose a position and get some fresh tyres.
Yeah, I just actually noticed that the gap between Mitch and Steve was coming down a tiny bit as well on that lap, so we might see a challenge for the lead soon.
Interesting. Well, I know we spoke recently about how well Mitch has been driving. However, there has been a couple of races where his tyre wear has been a little bit worse than the others. So if we're on for a one-stop race here, maybe there's the possibility that Mitch has taken a bit too much out of his tyres early on, but it won't show until like the 20 to 25 minute mark, where if the likes of Steve F1 and Demon R have looked after their tyres a little bit more, that may change things, because I'm looking at the track map now, you know, and Steve F1's closed in on Mitch. Oh,
yeah, I think Steve
Sorry.
Yeah, I think Steve F1's starting to get the hammer down now. Just maybe he's a bit more confident on the tyres at the stage, as we see Fluffy having a look at Bunsell, Gary flashing the lights at Dave now.
That he is. Jimmy's got Fluffy right up his gearbox. Yeah, this time around over the start-finish line, Steve F1 is definitely closer to Mitch. Demon R seems to have dropped off a little bit, so maybe struggling a bit with hangover or tyres. SGP, having pitted, has pulled away from Tyler, who has decided to go into the pits. Not a bad decision that from Tyler, because Jason's followed him in as well. So it looks like Tyler and Jason are going to be in a bit of a battle between the two of them. Can SGP do anything on his new tyres? I don't know, because of how consistent. Oh, Fluffy and Gary making the move. Sorry, I was looking at the track map there. Fluffy making the move. Yeah, I don't know if SGP is going to be able to gain on the leaders because of the consistency.
Yeah, I think he was too far back as well. I think he was getting stuck behind Conrad, so maybe he's trying to get rid of trying to do the undercut on Conrad. But I don't think he was close enough to maybe even challenge for a podium. I think Demon R, Steve and Mitch, I think they're on their own this race. As we see, it's that Twilight going wide there, coming out. It's a strange place to go wide, because it's just a straight bend unless he got caught on the curb on the opposite side and threw him off.
It is a bit of an interesting one, because it's not completely flat out, so if you do go in a little bit too hot, or actually, you know what it could be, I'll mention it in a moment actually, is that Twilight passing Gary? Yes, it is. Lovely move. Demon R's into the pits, 18 minutes gone. I'm wondering if he's seeing a gap ahead of Conrad to make sure he comes out in. Yeah, he's coming out of the pits now, so perhaps Demon R has decided, you know what, let's see what a fresh set of tyres can do. But one thing I was going to mention is that I know from a couple of the guys that if you start steering a little bit too much around these long corners, all of a sudden you start getting understeer, and the natural reaction is to then steer more, but you don't get more grip, you get more understeer, and it gets worse and worse. And the problem is the corners are so fast that it overheats your tyres, and then you struggle in the next corner and the next corner and the next corner and the next corner. Then before you know it, you're at turn one and there's a long corner and you've got understeer and you've overheated your tyres, and it's a vicious cycle. So Twilight could be in that situation where he had that, but also for the likes of Demon R and SGP, maybe in them perhaps trying to push a little bit too hard. Oh, Dave, I don't know if you caught the back of somebody there. Oh, he nearly caught the side of Gary. He saved that beautifully, to be fair.
Yeah, he manages to clip the apex as well, for good measure.
I'm surprised if he manages to get that slowed down for the airpin now, as SRI is up his chuff, flashing the hazards as well.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. That normally means I'm breaking down, but I don't know what it means in a racing sense.
Well, for SRI, probably means I'm Scottish. I'm getting a drink. Oh, Twilight's into the barrier, but no spinner. Yes, we got a spinner. Twilight, although technically he was spun by a car. Oh, Rich is around as well.
Yeah, Gary maybe realised, or has he just gone deep? He sounds like he's slowing down, but then he's picked up speed again, so
he's heading into the pits. So yeah, I don't know if Gary and Rich had a coming together there, or whether
that gap is definitely closing down now. Look how close Steve is to Mitch.
You know what, you're absolutely right. Yeah, look, Steve's lap times 24s all the way across the board. Oh, Mitch definitely struggling. He couldn't get it slowed down for the middle part of the chicane there. I wouldn't mind. So Mitch's lap times, he's had one in the 25s, so he's perhaps struggled a little bit, but Steve F1 has closed the gap. And interesting, oh, Mitch is big sideways there, and Steve F1 will see that, and that'll give him confidence.
Yeah, I think SGP, looking on the track map, has closed in on Conrad as well, so Conrad's made a mistake somewhere, and SGP, after his pit stop, is right on the back of him again.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Conrad may be going for the one stop. Demonar's already made a pit stop. The leaders are not going into the pits by the looks of things. No, they're not. There is Conrad and SGP. So SGP on what's going to be a two stop against Conrad on a one stop. That could be interesting as the race pans out. The leaders still close around turn one though. We're not looking at it at the moment because I would guess they are both on the same tyres and not close enough, whereas these two, it's SGP on a brand new set of tyres a few laps ago. So I mean, this is a stage, yeah, looking at Connor's lap times. Connor's had a 28, oh that would have hurt, and then a couple of 25s, whereas SGP's been able to get in the 24s with the fresher tyres. So this is about the time where a fresh tyre over an old tyre could have a benefit.
Yeah, as SGP's looking around the outside there.
Oh, he
Connor's
is.
Connor maybe he's running him out wide. He's going to just let him go. Oh, he actually nudges him off.
It's a big hit into the barriers.
I don't know whether that was just a racing incident there.
Maybe that was the old tyre understeer that I was talking about a few minutes ago.
Yeah, could be.
Could be, or maybe it was get out my way. I don't know why I'm doing weird accents today.
I don't think.
No, absolutely right. Tyler has opened up a bit of a gap to Jason. Fluffy though, he's right in the middle of the mix.
That is SRI there though.
That is SRI, and I'm hearing from my assistant that SRI might be hungry because apparently the flashing of his lights in Morse code spelt out shows your baps.
Could be, but Fluffy just wiggles there as if to tease SRI. Did we get a name?
See, I think a name has got to be off of just a simple one person spinning on their own, not because of contact with another car. Dave very nearly did it there, but he's managed to save it. I mean, the interesting thing is we can tell that the drivers have driven around this track a few times and they know about that corner because you can see them, like with Dave there, he knew he had to react, otherwise he was spinning.
Yeah, I think they've taken it easy. Oh, as SRI goes right round the outside and actually Hay manages to get the position. No, Hay gets it and actually has a look at Dave the Harp as well at the same time.
And he does Hay taking a bit too much curb there as Dave takes a bit too much curb on the other side as well. I think Dave's going defensive. Is Hay going to chuck it up the inside? No, thinks about it, but it's not on. Dave's got a nice tight line around the long left-hander. Fluffy is going to come under a bit of pressure here as we have a look back at Mitch, and he's managed to open the gap up. So he's had another lap in the 25s, but then got back into the 24s. So I'm wondering whether Steve's tyres have struggled a little bit because he's not been able to capitalise. Yeah, he had a 25 on the last lap around. So so perhaps Steve's struggling a little bit as he gets into the dirty air. Demonar, as we know, is pitted, so it'd be an interesting situation now as to whether Demonar can close the gap up enough so that when Mitch and Steve pit, he's in the fight, or I would guess he'll be open to be ahead of him as Conrad into the pits. That frees up SGP, but Conrad's going to come out of the pits with fresh tyres and 25 minutes to go.
Yeah, the halfway, sort of near the halfway point now, Mitch is pretty much seems to have settled down now, as I think Steve F1's probably on the same time as him. He hasn't really gained that much in the last couple of laps.
Well, the interesting thing as well about pitting for a new set of tyres around this track, with it being the hard compound tyre, it takes them a couple of laps to warm up. So you're probably not going to make gains until the third lap. So if you're going to try and undercut on someone, you're probably going to need about a 4-lap gap to be able to really do it. So in a way, Steve F1 may be better off not pitting when Mitch does.
Yeah, we're probably better off trying to get another lap in to see if Mitch can get how long it takes Mitch to get them tyres warmed up, and he might be able to do the undercut. Okay. But a couple of these drivers have actually said that they prefer the hard tyres because they're not actually that bad of a tyre, as Steve does the opposite of what you thought there, Dave.
Yeah, that he does. We're looking at Demonar though, coming down the main straight. Maybe this is why Steve F1 decided to pit at the same time, because Demonar has got himself right back into the battle for the lead, not quite close enough to take a place, but the cars ahead have now got to warm their tyres up. So maybe Steve F1 was thinking if he goes one more lap, he's going to come out behind Demonar.
Yeah, that would have been bad for him in terms of going for the win as we go back to these cars in this battle as Dave the Harp dives into pits.
think Gary just tried to pull out behind Jimmy there and hadn't realised that Hay was next to him, as they're now going side by side as SRI takes that blue line around turn 1. Gary trying to make the move on Hay. Hay gives him a little bit of a nudge. Hay's out of position now as he's going to struggle through the left-hander and loses that position to Gary. Be careful of the leading edge of that curb, as I mentioned. Conrad, having pitted, is now behind Tyler and closing in on Tyler, but we know that Tyler's on a 2-stop and Connor on a 1-stop, unless he decides to pit again later on, but I'd be surprised if he does. But yeah, just looking at the track map once again, leaders heading towards the final corner, no movement between them, but it is very close. Who's that we're looking at? Is that Conrad trying to make a move on Tyler?
Isn't quite going to get the outside line there, he just got squeezed over the curb. He's going to try again.
That he is. I'm still looking at the track map. Sorry, Connor. He's got, well, I was going to say he's got to have a look into the final corner, but actually, if you can make the move into the first corner, that'd be a decent place to do it, because then you can get the other person offline through the fast chicane.
Gets a good drive there. Choose the wider line. Pulls out from the toe.
He's not quite ahead though, is he?
Didn't quite get the gear change right there. I think Tyler's just let him go there. I think Tyler's just backed out of that.
I'm thinking perhaps Tyler's Conrad ran a little bit wide. Perhaps he's just thinking, you know what, we'll live to fight another day. That's not the battle he's got at the minute, as Bunsel's off into the barrier again. I think he may have been assisted on that one. I am still looking at the leaders. I know we're not showing it, but it's simply because we've got action elsewhere and there isn't actually any overtakes happening with the leaders, but it is very, very close between Steve F1 and Demon R at the moment. To be honest, I would like to be seeing that, but yeah, the cameraman has opted not to show us.
It looks like we might go to the leaders now. Hopefully, if Demon R's close enough to make a move on Steve F1, and Steve F1's actually closed in on Mitch by the looks of it.
We're still not on board with them though. Come on, Mr. Cameraman, change camera. Here we go. So Mitch onto the start-finish straight. So yeah, see, this is close. Mitch has got a little bit of a gap. Okay, Mr. Cameraman, I'll give you a bit of a break. I can understand why you're not be showing us. Connor, would you like to take us on a lap of Yamagiwa with Steve F1?
Yeah, on board with Steve F1 is in second place, going through that very long left-hander as we start to climb up through these fast S's. Flat out, it should be, if he gets the line right. Across the rest of the hill as we come down, we've got another fast left-hander, maybe third gear corner maybe. Keeps it tight in, wants a fast exit to use the curb on the right hand side. Straight in this corner, it's not really a corner that one, it's just a little kink, brakes hard. Get this line right and try and get a good run on Mitch. Actually understeers a bit through the first part. Goes up the hill, through the kink at the right hander. Tight braking on the sign there. Turns in, down to second gear. Wants to get a good traction off this. Through the mark at the start, the last sector. Here's that tight corner. See if he gives us a name. Takes it very calm in third gear there. Into the last corner. Many different lines. You can either take it wide and get a good run out, or you can keep it tight to protect the front tyres, as Steve F1 does there. And pulls back into the slipstream of Mitch, and I don't think he gained much on that last lap, but it is a 24.2, so it's still really good pace. Yeah, it's a good lap time. I think he's just a little bit too far away from Mitch to really benefit from the slipstream there, but a very nice smooth drive. Oh, Jimmy! Oh, he's definitely ran a bit wide. Davey are making the move on Gary down into the final corner now. Gary's going to have the better exit though. Fluffy going for a little bit of a switch back on Dave the Harp. Hope Fluffy don't want the pitch. Yeah, Dave the Harp just managed to get a little bit of a tour of Gary, and now actually Fluffy's going to receive that from Jimmy in the car ahead. I think he's kind of backed out. Dave the Harp going down the inside of Gary after defending from Fluffy. Ooh, but he's gone wide. That can happen if you take too tight a line. Fluffy now going to try and sweep round the outside. Not going to happen. Dave's all over the curb, I would guess, to give Fluffy a bit of space, and Gary nearly into the barrier. Oh, it's mental up that hill when you got cars around you. Yeah, one thing I did notice about that on board with Steve F1, he did seem very tentative through the chicane at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. Just missed the first part and gather it back up for the middle, and just lost him a bit of time for Mitch, I think. Yeah, I mean, I do.
yes, drivers take different lines through corners as we're seeing here, but yeah, I mean, I think the fastest way through that corner, that section, is taking quite a bit of curb on the left-hander as Gary trying to have a look at the inside of David Harp into the hairpin, but David Harp's going to get the better exit because Gary's got too tight a line, and it's 3 wide with Hay trying to sneak through. Where the hell did he come from?
Yeah, he's normally quite tentative to take a position, but he wasn't getting out of the way there. It's actually, we're going to go into the last corner with SRI, and Hayes ghosted.
Yeah, maybe he felt, oh, Twilight, spinning around.
That's what happens if you take too much curb.
Yeah, definitely is. An awkward place for him to try and spin around as well. So we've got a couple of guys into the pits, Fluffy and Jimmy though, they're side by side going into turn 1. And I do like the fact that around this track you can go side by side around pretty much all of it. Yes, it's going to slow you down a bit, but it can be done. You can have a good battle as Fluffy just give Jimmy a little bit of a nudge there. Jimmy, big tank slapper. He's got to try and save it now. Can he save it? Ooh, just.
Yeah, David Hart's going to look on the inside of Jimmy. Jimmy just closes the door there. He's going to run. Oh, runs out wide. Just, I think that's enough curb as you'll get away with there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, just having a quick look at the track map now. It looks like Mitch, who's on the start finish straight, has got himself a little bit of a gap to Steve F1 now. Similar gap back to Demon R. So those. Oh, Demon R's into the pits. Yeah, well, he did pit early, didn't he? So 2 stop for him. I think once the other guys had come out ahead of him, once they start pulling away, he might as well pit. He's got the time and he's got the gap.
Yeah, SJP seems to be on his own now as he seems to have dropped Conrad. Conrad actually in the 20 hasn't got back into the rhythm that we saw in the first stint, but he's still there in 5th place. Tyler pits. I think is that his first stop?
It might be. I mean,
it's a long way to go on a set of tyres.
I'd be amazed if it was his first stop, but having said that, I do know the hard tyres can, around this track, they can do 30 minutes if you can cope with the understeer. Or 3 wide up the hill won't work. Excuse me.
No, that was very tight as he went up there. Here getting stuck in again. It's not something we normally see from here, but he needs to gain points in this championship.
Now we usually see horses getting stuck into hay.
Where's Bunsell? Where's Bunsell when you need him?
Bunsell, who nearly crashed a horse the other day.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh, is that Jimmy? Oh, he just manages to save it. That's a very different line that we've seen through that chicane.
Yeah, he's done well to save it there and not collect anybody though, to be fair, as David Hart trying to close in on the back of Fluffy. Hay going into the hairpin a little bit too hot there. He's going to have to be careful. I've got a feeling we're going to see a spinner here. I don't think it's going to be Hay though, but I just got a feeling that Dave and Fluffy and Gary going through there too quick. Oh, Dave's dipping a wheel. It was close. Yeah,
still haven't seen one yet. Gary goes really wide there and manages to get a cut back to have a look at Dave the Harp down the straight. I think we've got Hay and Jimmy into the pits.
Yeah, that we have. David Hart trying to break the slipstream from Gary, but it kind of... Oh, Gary's quite hard on the brakes there. Maybe he's just trying to look after his tyres or position, or just trying not to attack too much. Ooh, that was close to chopping off SRI's nose there.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few cars going side by side up this hill. We haven't really seen any major accidents, but Gary's going to look at the outside. SRI might sneak on the inside of him here. Goes a bit wide.
Gary had a little look at going up the inside there. Wasn't quite honest. Dave just dips a wheel in the dirt again. He's going to have to be careful of that. If he does that too many times, he's going to be struggling to slow down for corners. SRI makes a lovely move on Gary into the chicane.
Yeah, SRI just looking to go forward now if he can get rid of some of these cars and try and score some decent points. But Gary might have a look on the inside of him. He does. I think SRI sort of left the door open there.
Yeah, he's going for a bit of a switchback but can't quite get it done, and that's another nice overtake. So Gary and SRI having a lovely little battle, the battle of the flags with their cars at the moment. English, well, Great British, United Kingdom even, against Scotland. Although
is that an old Jackie Stewart livery that he's running?
it is, yeah, it is a homage to the old Jackie Stewart. Or Davey Art's trying to get defensive on Gary, but Gary's up the inside. Oh, he's backed out of it though. Or is he taking Dave off? I'm not sure.
I don't know there. I don't know if Dave just sort of went straight on because he looked like he'd missed the 2 cars ahead of him.
Mate,
very strange.
They're coming for you, Connor.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Gary hasn't waited, so I guess Gary would think that he's not done anything wrong. Oh, trying to rescue one around the outside. He's had to get out of it though because he was running wide.
Jimmy comes through the middle of them there.
That's not a sight you want to see.
He might not have got the position yet.
Ooh, I think, did Gary give Jimmy a bit of a nudge there? Oh, Hayes giving SRI a bit of a nudge.
Yeah, definitely give SRI a nudge there.
Oh, Jason and Tyler. We said early on that these two could end up having a battle today, and to be fair, they then didn't see each other for ages, and I think it's because Jason had pitted. But yeah, Tyler having made a pit. Oh, Jason's run wide into the barrier. He goes, but no spin. Oh, come on, boys, you're boring.
Yeah, that was he got off lightly there. But yeah, Tyler, after making these pit stops, found his way back into 6th place now, so he can try and get away from Jason. I don't know if Jason needs to make another pit stop or if he's going for the 1 stop as well. But he's got this battle of cars coming on towards him now, as we see side by side. That's Jimmy and Gary. Yeah, Gary going for the inside again.
Jimmy's done well to not run too wide there, but he's got Hay all over the back of him. Oh, Jimmy and Gary side by side now. This could get messy. Oh, not because it's those. Oh, it does get messy. Gary's into the barrier, and on the other side, Bunsell into the barrier, and I think he just collected Hay as well. Carnage, you said a few laps ago, we've not seen any big crashes up the S's. We have now.
Yeah, that was a big one there, as Gary hit the wall and came across, and Bunsell collected Hay on his way. We go on board with Mitch. We haven't. Mitch is back in the 23s and low 24s, so he's back in setting that pace. But Steve looks like Steve F1's actually gone with him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Steve's got a few 23s there, Demon R's, 23s, 24s, but made the additional pit stop. I mean, the interesting thing for me is that if this stint goes like the first stint did, we could see Mitch struggle in the last sort of 10 minutes as SGP is into the pits. We could end up with an SGP Conrad fight here. There's a few of the drivers making their way through the chicane. I'm looking for spinning arrows and I'm not seeing any. Oh yeah, Conrad is ahead of SGP, so we're going to have a fight for 4th place.
Yeah, that is track position as well, obviously different strategies, so SGP's got to pass Conrad now.
Oh, Mitch all out of shape, race leader. We've not seen him much in this one, but he was massively out of shape in that chicane. You mentioned earlier actually, Connor, that with Steve when he was on board for that lap, he was very tentative through that chicane, and maybe that's why, because Mitch, I'm guessing, has been a little bit more aggressive, and it's just that one little mistake, and now Steve F1 is on him. Yeah,
it just took too much curb on the middle part, and it just drew him off onto the side, and he got a bit of a tank slapper on as we see SGP trying to get his tyres warmed up to have a go at Conrad and get back up into that 4th place.
I'm just looking to see if Steve is close. He should be in the slipstream now.
Yeah, I just want to see the lap time that he set on that lap with that mistake, because it drew at least a second in. Yeah,
I'm thinking it's got
for
to
Steve.
25.4, something like that. What lap would it have been? It would be lap 28, so we'll try and, if we get on board with Mitch at some point, we'll try and have a look at what lap it was. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic though with Steve F1. The more cautious approach, consistent, bosh, make no mistakes or make minimal mistakes. And for Mitch, I mean, fair play to him, he's flying, his SGP's all over the back of Conrad. Yeah, Mitch has been pumping those lap times in, but sometimes the harder you push, the more risk you're taking. And we'll see how much SGP is going to push here and how much risk he's going to take as Conrad goes a little bit defensive, but still using all of the road. And that's how I like to see people defend but using all of the road. There's no point being all the way over to the left hand side on a left-hander to defend. If the guy's on the right of you, be right next to him.
Yeah, he's just putting the car in the middle of the track, and SGP's got to find a way around.
Daddy
both take the same line through there.
Leaders are close. Oh, lap 28 on Mitch. I didn't see it. But yeah, it was very close. I noticed as we were going through the final corner. But yeah, I mean, Steve F1's done another 24.5.
Yeah, so he's gonna have a look up the hill.
You know what, I think Mitch has struggled to get his tyres back up to temperature. Here we go then, Steve F1 for the lead of the race after 41 minutes. And we've cut away from it. Why have we cut away from it? I want to see the battle between the leaders. Oh, someone fire that cameraman.
We've got a battle on for fourth now. SCP in the tour.
Okay, I'm going to keep looking at the track map. Go on, Connor, tell us what's happening there.
Connor just on the outside, SCP on the inside.
Okay, race lead.
Side by side up the hill.
Oh, it's going to be a bit of contact between the two of them. Off they go. Conrad goes off. Oh no, and big sideways now. I was going to mention the race leaders have been through one of the chicanes and they're still close. But Steve F1, no attack. I can only guess that the cameraman was being told in his ears the gap between the leaders is getting bigger and bigger. So my apologies. Maybe they have more information than I do. But yeah, so unfortunate for Connor there. Has he recovered? Is he still ahead of SGP? SGP's let him through.
Yeah, SGP maybe thought that he was at fault for that incident. Connor might have dirty tyres still after that, going off track, and then a sideways moment might have overheated his tyres a bit. You see a little bit of a wiggle there.
SGP got a little bit deep into the hairpin as well. I mean, the tyres won't have taken too much punishment, but it will take them a lap or so to clean up, or perhaps get the temperature down sometimes. I mean, that's the thing, sometimes you have to get the temperature up, sometimes you have to get the temperature down. SGP having a sneaky look into the final corner, nothing happening. Race leaders are going into the big long left-hander at the top left of the track map, and it looks like Mitch is opening that gap up again, you know.
Yeah, looks like Tyler's closing in on these two as well behind.
You're absolutely right. SGP having another look up the inside. That's going to give him a slow line through the corner. I think he was just trying to get Conrad out of position. I do want to mention though, yeah, Tyler's catching these up. If Jason isn't right behind him, then Jason is at the head of the pack, and the pack is bunched.
Yes, everyone down from 7th, apart from 2 cars at the back that look like they're trying to recover. But yeah, there seems to be a few battles going on all over. Damon R sort of has quite a bit of track to himself at the minute.
That he does. SGP making the move then this time around into the chicane, is he? Once again, oh, he is. He is and he isn't. He's trying to get Conrad out of position, and it's one of those things. He's taking the risk, but he's not willing to lose it all. He doesn't want to be losing too many points. I mean, this is something we haven't mentioned either. I mean, SGP and Mitch are currently locked in a championship battle. Mitch leading the championship into this race is going to extend that lead if he holds on to first place.
Yeah, Conrad goes a bit wide.
But there we go. We got a spinner.
It's Conrad chicane. He hasn't rejoined yet. He's still stuck, and here comes the pack.
I'm just waiting. I was actually trying to think of something really funny to say there. I had nothing at all.
And Conrad will probably pit. Yeah, tyres are overheating.
I mean, it's an interesting one for Conrad. That if he carries on, he could come under a bit of pressure. Go for a fresh set of tyres. At least he can push it hard for 6 minutes, but he's going to come out sort of right at the back of the pack. Well, Steve F1 got a bit sideways heading into the chicane now. Still not had a chance to have a look at Mitch's lap 28, but
I'm glad you've remembered what lap it was.
yeah, lap 28 SRI all over the back of Dave the Harp here. I mean, we said the pack was bunched, and it is. Dave the Harp's got his indicators on. Maybe it's pass me on the right, or I'm turning right. I'm going to put you in the wall on the right. I don't know.
Well, I think it'll be the last one with Dave. But SRI's going to look to the inside now.
He's going to go for it. He is going to go for it. Oh, Dave's got a little bit deep onto the marbles, and there's quite a few of them now. SRI gets through, but here comes Gary. Dave the Art flashing his lights at SRI, perhaps to say nice move, or the complete opposite of that in very different terminology. But yeah, interesting battle though. Oh, I mean, I say interesting battle. I just hope that there isn't a big crash coming here between all these guys. Oh, was that Twilight and Gary? No, it was Bunsell and Gary side by side through the chicane, and Conrad trying to make his way back through on the fresher tyres. Ooh, a little bit forceful on Gary there. He's kind of coming through.
Yeah, he's actually having a look at Dave the Harp now. Pulls out from the tour, trying to get the cars ahead to give him a little bit of a helping hand into this first corner.
Oh, and into the back of SRI he goes. SRI all the way around the barrier now. Is Connor waiting? Yeah, it looks like Connor's waiting, so any advantage is just made on those fresher tyres is now out of the window a little bit. Unfortunately for Connor, his race has gone from going quite well to painful, I think, as SRI does retake that position. So well done to Connor for giving that position back. Just to update you as well on the leaders, Mitch has opened up the gap, going across the start finish line now, and he's got about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds over Steve F1. Demonar is about 10 seconds back. Not a lot he can do. SGP is quite a few seconds ahead of, I think it's Tyler by the looks of it, and then we've got the pack, the battle, and it is Jason that is leading the pack at the moment, I think. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Jason
got a
and
little
Jimmy.
bit of maybe the car length or two ahead of Jimmy, who's finding himself in 7th.
Gary and Rich were side by side coming into the chicane. They're not anymore because Gary's gone wide into the barrier. Hasn't spun it though, and SRI and Conrad might be able to make a move on Gary there. As Rich having a look at the inside of Twilight, slides through, and Bunsell there as well. Not seeing much of Bunsell. Oh, who's that spinning in the
Gary's
background?
round at the last corner again.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I'll tell you what though, we're only now 2.5 minutes left in this race. It's been one that actually, it's felt like it's gone faster than some of the other ones. I mean, I will talk after the race actually about the 50-minute races, because I think it would be interesting to get a few of the drivers' perspectives for the next race. Anyway, as Rich all over the back of Dave the Harp. Dave the Harp going very defensive, kind of, or has he backed out of it? Has he got a problem?
Conrad and SRI side by side.
Oh no, they're not. Conrad's around.
SRI put him off there.
You must have a different camera to me because I didn't see anything. Excuse me. I might have to get my chest checked to the way I'm coughing at the minute. That was just too much excitable talking. But yeah, I don't know what was happening to Dave there. I don't know whether Dave's slowing up, compromised.
Oh, Rich was slow there. I don't know if that was. Just looked like he was slow coming out of the hairpin there. I don't know if he was. It was just the way the camera was. But Gary gets shoved there by SRI, and it actually helps him out as he gets closer to Twilight.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was happening. Well, actually, you know what it could be? If somebody kind of gets out of rhythm with what they're doing with their gear changes, like these two cars here, if one of them changes gear at an unusual time, the car will appear to go extremely slow as Dave the Harp slips through up the inside of Rich Blues. Nice move from Dave, that. Rich being a decent dance partner there. I've heard he has got some moves. Ooh! I thought that was going to be carnage. Rich backed out of that one. I don't blame him. Or Gary's just tagged the side of Dave the Arm. This is all getting a little bit mental. And you know what, Connor? I think these guys are on to their last lap. I think they are.
30 seconds to go. Yeah, it'll be close to the chicane where they'll run out of time. Yeah, the race
leaders have just crossed the line, so they've got another lap to do. Demon R's going to get another lap as well. I'm not sure if SGP will, so we've got the pack. Maybe that's why it's getting a little bit more frantic at the moment. They've realised it's the last lap. I mean, it's not to say that's a signal to do whatever you like. It really isn't. But Dave the Harp trying to make a move around the outside of Gary, having a look at SGP then. His lap times haven't been too bad since he did a 26 to 29, a 26 to 28 and a 29. So yeah, perhaps the alcohol affecting SGP today and a hangover. 4th place it'll be for him. Who's in 5th? Tyler. Got to say, well done Tyler. He's done very well to finish in 5th. And then behind him we've got Jason in 6th. And then the pack. So we've got Jason, Fluffy, Jimmy weaving, Dave the Harpy straight line, and he doesn't want to lose any time. Weaving very close battle over the line. Conrad though is going to be 14th place for him. He'll be devastated with that. Twilight 15th, Hayes 16th, and then we head over to the leader, and lap 28 was a 25.5. But look how close this is. They're heading into the final corner now. So Mitch and Steve F1, they've been close all race. Steve F1's not been able to do anything about Mitch, even when Mitch made his little error, and that gave Steve his opportunity. But I've got to say, what a fantastic result for Mitch, and for the championship, it's victory for him. Steve F1, well done, takes second place. Demon R, don't know how he's walking, let alone driving, with a hangover, alcohol-induced podium positions. Interesting race, that's for certain.
Yeah, I think the second half of the race was a bit more mental than the first, with everyone starting to make the pit stops. And obviously we've seen a few more incidents than the first half, so yeah, I think there'll be a lot of people disappointed with the performances in the second half, but I think definitely Tyler will be happy at finishing 5th, and he hasn't really done much for this championship.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, same with Jason, not been able to attend all of the races. He's done well to come in and stay ahead of the pack. I mean, Conrad was unlucky. I don't know whether he was put off by SGP or I mean, in hindsight, would he have been better off not pitting for that last stop?
But I don't know how long it would have took him to come under pressure from the guys behind with the amount of punishment that his tyres took. Yeah. It would have been interesting to see, but I think it would have panned out one or two ways if he stayed out. Either he lost all the positions anyway, or he ended up in more incidents. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I only asked the question because it's an interesting one, because we were saying about you don't get much gain by pitting. Well, you don't up at the front, but if you've got the pack and some of those guys are on fairly new tyres and you've just had a big off, you're a sitting duck basically, because you're going to take a couple of laps to clean up your tyres. They're going to be on you, and they've got fresher tyres. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lose-lose situation in a way. So yeah, in hindsight, perhaps pitching was the right way to go. Just unfortunate after that. I've got to say though, Mitch, a solid performance. I mean, I think we're seeing a different type of race driver in Mitch in this championship, in that, I mean, I've said it in previous championships, there's been races where he's taken too many risks and it's not given the rewards, and he's changed his driving style in that he doesn't seem to be taking the risks, and he's ended up being more consistent, and that is what is going to help him win races.
Yeah, he certainly looked a lot better since we've changed from the Group 4 cars last season. He looks a lot better in this car. He looks more comfortable and a lot more quicker than he was last season. So he could be in with a shout of actually sealing a championship this season.
He's got a chance, because I think he may have just had a 7-point gain or something like that over SGP. We'll find out when I have a look at the championship standings in a little while. But yeah, I mean, I think for SGP, I mean, he came into this race with quite a bit of blurred vision, and said anything 6th, he'd be happy finishing 6th because of how he was feeling. So I think finishing 4th, he won't mind that. I mean, sometimes you just have to achieve the best you can. I think for Steve F1 though, it's an interesting situation where Steve's had a fantastic race. He's done nothing wrong really. He may kick himself that he didn't attack at certain points, but maybe the opportunity just wasn't there. Or maybe, I was going to say, maybe perhaps a little too cautious, like you mentioned about him avoiding a couple of the curbs, where maybe if he'd have just used the curb, gained an extra 10th, maybe it would have given him a better opportunity. But then if you look at it from a bigger picture, the gap in points between Steve F1 and Mitch is quite big. I don't think Steve F1 is really going to be able to do much about Mitch, because really Steve F1 would need to win races and have Mitch finish like 14th, 15th. So I don't know, maybe Steve F1's kind of taken that Prost approach of, by attacking too much I could end up with less points than I'm going to get if I'm here, and I'll put all the pressure on him, because let's face it, 50 minutes of having a car right up your gearbox is pressure. Yeah,
and obviously Steve F1, maybe it would have been a different story had he finished at Fuji.
Yeah,
but obviously he's in that position now where he didn't, and he's sort of the one behind, and he'll just be looking to gain points here and there where he can, and then if he can pick up a few wins along the way, then he'll be happy.
Yeah. So I think with his result today, he'll jump ahead of De Minaur and Conrad in the standings, which would put him third, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that pans out. For everybody else in there, very difficult for me to remember exactly what was going on. I mean, what I will say is I expected to see a lot more cars spinning in the chicane.
Yeah, we saw a couple of cars. Well, obviously we didn't see many cars spinning, but a couple of the cars that we did, most of them was through contact and trying to go side by side.
Yeah. Which some people may say is not good, but it's better than seeing people just drive off the track and spinning all over the place. But it is, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're racing, you're going to end up wheel to wheel with people at times. I think overall the driving has been better, and I think for a lot of the drivers, Suzuka last week was so tough, I don't think anybody came away from the race last week thinking, I've done really well there. Everybody struggled and suffered at Suzuka, whereas here the car's made, it's like the track was made for the car. It's good fun around that track, I think it shows in the fact that we had action once again all the way through. I mean, when you've got what was it, I think 6th to 14th or 15th crossing the line within like 3 seconds of each other, absolutely mental.
Yeah, they followed each other for 50 minutes. The same group of cars were side by side through pretty much every corner.
Yeah, true. Now, interestingly, I mentioned early on about the 50 minutes, so I would be interested in getting people's views on what it's like doing the 50 minutes. Because I know from my perspective, I do think 50 minutes, I mean, I have no problem in the fact that we've done it and we've tried it, but I think if these cars have shown anything, it's that 50 minutes in these cars, it ain't off energy sapping. I think a few people after this race have ended up with sore arms.
Well, I think these cars, because they're so quick as well, you're constantly concentrating on the next corner that's coming up, and I think around a track like Yamagiwa, with the corners coming thick and fast, you've always got to be wary of which part of the track you're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no sort of take a breath, is there? You've got to be concentrating for 50 minutes, and if you're in the battle, it's not easy to do. I mean, it's kind of catch-22 situation. If you're in a battle, it's actually probably easier to concentrate than if you're on your own. If you're on your own, you start, oh, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? And once your mind starts wandering, you're in trouble. But if you're in the pack, yes, you're going to be concentrating, but by the time you've finished, holy cow, you're going to be knackered. So I would be interested to see what the drivers think, because I have heard a few people in some of the races this championship have kind of looked over and got, how long's left? 30 minutes? Bloody hell, I'm knackered already. Because they've already been. So it's kind of, I mean, it does bring in that endurance aspect to it, and that's why it's the 10 minutes longer. They're Le Mans cars, so do something a bit different, go a little longer. I don't think we'll see. 50 minutes was never going to be staying anyway, but I don't think we'll be seeing it return anytime soon. Just my thought.
No, and obviously with the new car being shown for next season, it will be interesting to see what sort of format that they go with the next group of cars.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, what the Ford is going to be over the Christmas period, but it's not an official, it's not a proper championship.
I think we will see plenty of crashes for that one anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
As we've seen in a few of the practice sessions that they've had them out.
Yeah, I mean, what the Ford is, it is simply just for a bit of fun. But yeah, for the Nor, as it's called, which will start in January, using the Porsche 911 RSR Group 3 car, yeah, that could be very, very interesting, because those cars they're not too overpowered, they're not too fast, they're not as grippy as these LMP1 cars, but they're not as fast either. So I think I don't want to say it'll make things closer together. It's going to be a different type of racing, I think, in those cars compared to these.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of nice liveries on show. We've seen a few of them being revealed this week.
Oh, that they have. Okay, just want to mention that the next race for us with the Anniversaire, the Historique, is from Monza, no chicane. Where we may actually get to see the drivers using fifth gear for the first time in this championship. I mean, you mentioned a moment ago, Connor, about Yamagiwa, the corners come thick and fast. At Monza, not quite the same, especially if it's no chicane, because turn one's Curva Grande.
Yeah, well, it'll be the first 20 seconds of the lap will be full throttle.
Yeah.
From Parabolica all the way up through Curva Grande into that chicane. Is it the Roggia chicane?
Della Roggia, yeah, or the Quattro Formaggio.
Yeah, and that's a pretty horrible corner to arrive at first, because if you run too far wide,
yeah,
or you clip the curbs, there's a nasty gravel trap as you come out of that corner.
Yeah. The other thing, I mean, I understand why we've gone with the no chicane version, but that chicane, the first few laps, is going to be tricky, because we could be approaching there at over 200 mile an hour in slipstream, 16 cars bunched together. I think something that we all may have to realise is there's probably going to be a few crashes at that chicane, but that doesn't mean that people shouldn't be trying to avoid them. You should, but stuff's going to happen, because, as you said, if you approach that corner first, you might end up making a mistake. If first makes a mistake, then there's a good chance that that'll have a knock-on effect, and 10th might make a mistake, and so yeah, we could see carnage. But at the same time, these cars handle that track beautifully. The problem is, as you mentioned, if you dip a wheel in the gravel, that first chicane exit, dip a wheel there, you're spinning. Two Lesmos
just after,
yeah, you dip a wheel there, you're spinning. Ascari, you take too much curb in the middle bit, you're spinning. Run too wide on the exit, you're spinning. But keep it on the tarmac, using the right amount of curb, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And the thing is with the slipstream as well, at this track Yamagiwa, it was about 7/10. At Monza, it should be a little bit more because of the speeds we'll be running at. So hopefully you get a slipstream from about a second away, which could keep things very, very close. And not only that, we may see, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of bump drafting going on at Monza, because it can be very, I mean, it's one of those things, you overtake the car ahead of you, you end up side by side, everyone else gets close, you bump draft the car ahead of you all the way up the main straight, you start pulling away from them cars behind, and then you've got a chance to overtake into the chicane. So yeah, I think we could see a bit of a...
Well, I think the slipstream actually gains you around 10 mile an hour on the car ahead, so we should see a few cars, like we've seen today, from 7th to 14th. We never seen them away from each other, so going down that main straight, I'm guessing there's going to be a few cars that will be off onto the grass or into the gravel, into that chicane.
Yeah. Not only that, I mean, Curva Grande might not even be flat out if you've got multiple slipstreams. I mean, if you're approaching there at over 200 mile an hour, you could easily find yourself on the wrong line. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the practice sessions. Okay, before we get going, I just want to mention that obviously in the UK at the moment we're going down into another sort of lockdown, or we went into another lockdown, and I mentioned it was Demonar's birthday the other day. Well, I went to go and get Demonar a birthday gift. Right, I saw a radio for sale for £1. It was reduced as faulty for £1. I'll get that. Can't turn that down. Yeah.
Just I think that was enough to tell you how bad that joke was.
Yep. Someone would have laughed.
Oh, someone would have.
Yeah. You want to ask Fluffy how much he laughed at the knock knock joke last week?
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Well, at least I've only gone with the one this week.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Connor. Thank you very much for joining me on the commentary once again.
Yeah, no doubt I'll be back again for Monza, and I'll look forward to it.
And so will I. Let's take a look at the confirmed race result and the championship standings after race 5. Right, let's have a look at the confirmed race result then. Mitch taking the victory and another 20 points ahead of Steve F1 in second place on 17 points. Demonar finished in third, bags 15, while SGP finishes in fourth with 13 points. Tyler, a great result for him in fifth place, 11 points ahead of Jason in sixth place, who scores 10. Fluffy Planet finished in 7th place and bags 9 points for him, and it's Jimmy that gets the 8 for 8 this time around. To be fair, a fantastic result for Jimmy. In 9th place is Dave the Harp, takes 7 points, and he's ahead of Bunsel in 10th place, and 6 points for him. Formula Gary bags 5 points for 11th place, while Rich Blues finished in 12th. SRI in 13th, Conrad in 14th, Twilight in 15th, and Hay in 16th, but unfortunately 16th place does not score a point. There were no post-race reports, incidents reported after this race, so no penalties to be given out. Which is always a good thing. Okay, so let's see what that then has done to the championship standings. And Mitch is leading the way. He's now got a 9-point gap ahead of SGP, who has a 13-point gap over Demonar and Steve F1, who are now tied for third place. Conrad sits in 5th on 52 points, while Fluffy Planet sits in 6th place now on 39. Twilight's in 7th on 31 points, while Dave the Harp is in the top 8 on 29. Rich Blues is in 9th on 26 points, and he's one ahead of Jason, who's in 10th. Bunsel is only one behind Jason, so Bunsel having a cracking season so far. Formula Gary in 12th place on 19 points is 2 ahead of Jimmy in 13th, who's 4 ahead of SRI in 14th. Tyler, with his first points of the season, moves up to 15th, while Hay drops to 16th on 2 points. Well, it's definitely turning out to be an interesting fight for the championship. SGP in the battle once again, but this time it's against Mitch. How will they fare in the last 4 races? The next one being at Monza with no chicanes on the soft compound tyre. This could be very interesting for Monza. Plenty of high speed, which means when there's crashes, they're going to be at high speed as well. Anyway, if you want to check out all of the action, you know what to do. Come and check out Dynamic GT League. Have a good one, everybody, and we'll see you all again soon.